Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I wanted to come on live today and talk about the four levels of learning and what it's got to do with your success and variety of success. You can apply this to business success, but you can also apply this to the growth and learning you're doing any area of your life. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And it came up because Jabari, my son, he's 3 now and he has just started a new school because we've recently moved. And it's quite interesting to see he's still developing his language and he can speak like really, really well. He knows lots and lots of words. But it's really interesting when I hear him say a brand new word and you can see that it's new to him. And it reminded me of the four levels of learning. And basically, it's like every human being goes through this whenever you're growing and developing and learning and improving and moving something forward. You will go through the four levels of learning. And you may have heard about this before, or you may not. This might be new to you, right? But I want to give you something that can really help you in your day-to-day success, because maybe there's something you're working on right now and you're getting frustrated. You're like, why am I just not there yet? Why don't I just understand this? Why when I just why when I pass my driving test? Why when my business at this level, whatever it is, right? I want to just remind you about these journey that you go on as you move forward in anything, because often people are looking at the end result of something and they don't necessarily really lean into what is going to require somebody to get to that end result. And it's definitely really, really important to acknowledge, because when you acknowledge it, it can really help you manage your emotions, manage the journey in a much more better way, reduce overwhelm, reduce stress, reduce anxiety along the journey, and you can enjoy the journey. And I think that's what they mean when they say enjoy the journey, right? Don't just focus on the destination, but enjoy the journey that you're going on to the destination, because you've got to go through these four stages. And so, where Jabari recently he like has started saying otherwise. That's how he says it. Like his new word is otherwise, and the way he like brings it into a sentence, it made me chuckle of like him going through the four levels of learning, and it's so exciting to see. And I've seen that in many scenarios in his life, and you can often see that in children really easily to see that. But you as an adult are still going through the four levels of learning, just in different ways, right? And so if you think about building a business or scaling a business, right, or getting to a next level of success, apply it to what you want. But the first level is where you are unconsciously, right, incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. That means that you become ambivalent about change. You're a bit like apprehensive, like, I don't know, because you just don't know. You have no clue about the learning gap that it requires. You may misjudge the learning gap. You may rely on your intuition, but in the wrong way, because you just don't know what you don't know, right? And so it's really important to understand that that first level of learning is to recognize that there is going to be a learning gap, right? And for you to make decisions that you don't need to learn this or you don't need to learn that, you just don't know what you don't know, right? So a great way to move like forward from that learning gap is to speak to somebody at that destination that you're going to be around people that are at that destination, so you can start to identify and see, actually, this is what I need to do next, right? And that's why I actually host for practitioners who are wanting to build an online business like I have. I host a 5-day experience when they can come in the room and really move from being unconsciously incompetent, right? Or even consciously incompetent. And I'll talk about that next, right? Which is the second level. But they can start to move to some conscious competence, yeah, which is the third level. But it really is understanding that when you embrace, when you decide that you're going to do something differently, in recognizing that you will start on that first level of learning, and it's okay to be a beginner. It's actually like, if you can embrace the fact that we are all lifelong learners, and if you could embrace the mindfulness trait of having a beginner's mind, it will serve you so well in life, right? And so when you are presented with a thought about building a business or scaling a business or writing a book or whatever it is, right? Recognizing that there's a level one is unconsciously incompetent. You have no idea what you don't know in order to get where you need to go, right? And so that in itself brings ambivalence about, like, oh, can I do it? The imposter syndrome like flares up. You start thinking, oh, I don't know, is it going to be okay for me? You know, you become apprehensive, right? But then if you tie that, if you're somebody that feels like you are very intuitive, you are very connected with feeling, right? You may lean into wrong intuition in that stage because you just don't know what you don't know. So it's hard to tell like what your intuition's doing, right? When you move to that level two, the best place to be is to move to level two when you become consciously incompetent. You are aware, right? Often people can move from one to two if they become really trained in their mindset of knowing that if there's something that I want to do next, right, that I have never done before, or I have done before, but I've done it in a different way and I'm going to do it in a different way now, I am now consciously incompetent. I have a skills gap. I have a knowledge gap. There is things that I'm going to need to know. There's going to be skills I'm going to upskill. I need to upskill on. I may need to upskill in my identity, right? And so it's recognizing as well that there's a gap. Yeah, you become conscious of your incompetence, right? And that's why level two is termed as consciously incompetent, right? You're no longer like unconsciously incompetent of like, yeah, you know, I can do this, right? Or whatever, right? Just because you're not really leaning into understanding. You just don't know what you don't know. There's going to be upskilling, identity upgrades, right? Knowledge upgrades, all of those things. When you're on that level two, you are consciously incompetent, right? There's nothing wrong with being incompetent, okay, right? As I said, like, start viewing yourself as a lifelong learner. It will serve you so well. I love learning. I love learning. I love developing. I love upgrading myself. And I really feel that those people that really have real great success is because they don't become kind of cocky and arrogant in what they know. They remain open. They have that trait, that mindfulness trait of having a beginner's mind in every situation. So when you are consciously incompetent, right, you recognize that gap and you see the value in learning. You see the value in putting yourself into situations that are going to excel and accelerate your growth, right? By being around people that are also learning what you are learning is important. By having a leader or a teacher, right, and being the student is going to help you. And it's going to really support you in becoming consciously competent, right? By understanding what is going to need to happen to get you where you want to go, right? And so that is like why I absolutely adore and love running things like I used to do the Mindset Mastery Roadshow. Maybe we'll bring that back. I haven't done that in a long time prior to lockdown, but that was my in-person event where you'd come and you'd really help you have those upgrades and put in the steps of what it takes to get you from being consciously incompetent and frustrated and anxious and overwhelmed to starting to put that into steps, practical steps of being consciously competent in how you're going to move your business, vision, or your creative career forward. Okay. And that's why I do things like the Position, Price, and Promote Challenge, okay, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. If you are a practitioner, a health practitioner, psychologist, counselor, therapist, and you want to jump in the room and become consciously competent about what it is you need to do to build an online business. as a health professional, right? And so that's what happens to move from consciously incompetent to consciously competent is you put yourself in places where you are learning how to upgrade your identity into the next level of who you are going to become. When you are learning what exactly it takes to put together the business that you want to put together, what exactly it takes to write the book, publish the book, or whatever it is you are working on. Yeah, you have to put yourself into a place where you become consciously competent and you stay consciously competent for a while. And consciously competent looks clunky. Imagine when you are learning to drive, right? You are, oh, okay, like, have I got the bike? Like, if you think about manual, right? If you're in the US, I think you more do automatic, yeah? But it's still like consciously competent. It feels clunky. Like, okay, mirror, signal, maneuver, right? I just like remember that. I haven't even thought about that for a long time, yeah? But that's what I would be doing when I was learning to drive. Mirror, signal, maneuver, right? Yeah, it's all clunky. Have I got the bike? Going to gear one? Okay, like it's all clunky because you are consciously competent. Even when you get your driving test certificate, you are still consciously competent. It's still clunky, right? Like even when you become, I remember when I got my certificate, like I passed my Viva and I was now declared doctor in psychology. I was still consciously competent, right? Which meant it was still clunky, right? So you've got to remember that even once you have been stamped with the seal of approval to pass the thing, it's because you have practiced enough that they have deemed you as understanding what you need to do. You have done the hard work, right? You've put in the work around it, that you understand how it all works together, but it's still clunky. There's another level of learning that you need to get to, right? Where it's smooth, which everybody aspires to be, right? At that consciously incompetent. Yeah, right? The unconscious competence, right, is the fourth level. Unconscious competence. You don't even need to think about it. I can't remember the last time I thought mirror, signal, maneuver when I was driving until I've just told this story now. I just do it, right? It's automatic. It's ingrained in me. It's like, okay, I need to turn left, mirror, signal, maneuver, boom, mirror, signal, maneuver. I'm not even thinking mirror, signal, maneuver. I'm just doing it. I'm just living it, right? And so that fourth level can only come through practice. That can only come through work. That can only come through discipline. That can only come through support and guidance and refinement, right? And so, like, be okay to be consciously competent and recognize you're going to need to be there for a while until you become unconsciously competent, right? And that's what many people miss in the journey of success. You're looking at somebody's page 1000 and you're on your page 100, right? And so, like, everybody, they say everybody wants to be the ballerina, everybody wants to be the basketball player, that professional, everybody wants to be Beyonce, everybody wants to be Richard Branson, everybody wants to be Oprah, right? Like, they went through the 4 levels of learning and competence, just like you have to go through. And you see the behind the scenes, you see the ballerina's feet as they are becoming consciously competent, right? And so it doesn't always feel good on the journey to becoming consciously competent. It certainly didn't feel good on the journey of doing a PhD doctorate to become a doctor in psychology, right? So it's you've got to recognize as well that feeling it in your body and it feeling good and it feeling in flow, right, is not the path solely to becoming consciously competent. And that's what I've got to say to you today. I've got about 2 minutes to go. We've got to jump on a call with a client. If you are a psychologist, a counselor, a therapist, a physio, an occupational therapist, right, a nurse, somebody that considers them a health practitioner, maybe you're a social worker and you want to get in the room with me for 5 days to understand how you can build your own business, or how you can build one that is soul nourishing and is actually working. If you've been trying to build it already, then definitely check out the PPP challenge. This is the Position, Price and Promote challenge. We start July 4th. Tickets are now available for you to get in the room. Okay, so all the details are on that page, right, which is watchnow.drtilean.com/PPP. Banners going across the screen. All right, but I'm going to shut off there and jump in a call now. But over and out. Have a fabulous day. Enjoy the sun. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.